All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're digging into a story that's all about incredible wealth, raw ambition, and deep conflict. It all starts with a few glittering stones found in South Africa. We're going to see how a massive diamond rush didn't just make a few people rich, it actually built, and tragically divided, an entire nation.
And that really gets to the heart of it, right? How can one single type of stone build a global industry, raise cities right out of the dust, but at the very same time, lay the foundation for a system of just profound inequality? Well, let's find out.
You know, every great rush has to start somewhere. And this one, well, it didn't start with a bang. It was more like a flicker of light on a riverbank. The whole story kicks off with just pure, dumb luck. This wasn't some expert prospector, it was a teenager, Erasmus Jacobs, who just happened to stumble upon this 21-carat stone back in 1866. At the time, it was just a pretty rock, you know? They later named it the Eureka Diamond, but almost nobody realized what it was a sign of. Because that Eureka Diamond, it was just the warm-up act. It was the first little clue, the whisper that maybe, just maybe, there was a whole lot more buried under the soil of the Cape Province. It put the area on the map, sure, but the real explosion, that was still to come.
So that little whisper of a discovery? It was about to become an absolute roar. Because just a few years later, a second discovery, one that was way more significant, would change everything.
Get this, 83.5 carats. That was the Star of South Africa, found in 1869, and this was no subtle hint. A stone of this size, this quality, it was like a giant, flashing neon sign for the entire world.
And just like that, the secret was out. News of this incredible gem spread like wildfire. Thousands upon thousands of prospectors from all over the planet packed their bags and they all headed for the Cape Province. Every single one of them hoping to find their own star. The great South African diamond rush was officially on.
The speed of this is just mind-blowing. I mean, look at this timeline. In just 5 years, the whole region went from a kid finding a cool rock to the site of a full-blown international gold rush. Well, diamond rush. All focused on this one spot that would become world famous, Kimberley.
So what happens when you get tens of thousands of people in one spot, all of them absolutely convinced they're standing on a fortune? They start digging, and what they made together was, honestly, nothing short of a wonder of the world.
50,000. Just let that number sink in. That's how many miners swarmed the area that would become the Kimberley Mine. It's hard to even imagine that many people, all digging away in the same place, all chasing the exact same dream.
And here's the crazy part. This whole thing was powered by hand. At least in the beginning, this wasn't some big industrial operation. It was just a chaotic mess of individual claims, where guys worked with the most basic tools you can think of: picks, shovels, and buckets.
And the result of all that effort was the Big Hole. It's just a staggering monument to pure human will. Between 1871 and 1914, these miners literally by hand carved this massive crater into the earth. They shaped an entire landscape with nothing but ambition.
So all that backbreaking work, was it worth it? Well, for the world's diamond supply, the answer was a huge yes. By the time the digging stopped in 1914, that one hole had produced over 14.5 million carats of diamonds. I mean, that is an almost unimaginable amount of treasure to pull out of the ground.
Okay, but this chaos, this absolute free-for-all of 50,000 individual miners, it couldn't last. It just wasn't sustainable. So the next chapter in this story is all about consolidation, power, and the birth of a corporation that would go on to control the entire global market. So this chaos attracted some really shrewd businessmen, guys like Cecil Rhodes and Barney Barnato. They saw the bigger picture. Instead of just digging, they started buying up all the claims from the smaller, less successful miners. And by 1888, they merged all their holdings into one incredibly powerful company, De Beers, a company that would go on to have a near-total monopoly on diamonds for the next 100 years.
And with De Beers setting up its headquarters there, that chaotic mining camp of Kimberley was totally transformed. It became a real city, the undisputed center of the entire global diamond trade. All that raw power and wealth was now concentrated in this one place. So we've seen the wealth, we've seen the power. But, and this is a really big but, that is only half the story. The legacy of this diamond boom is so much more complicated. It's a story of incredible progress, yes, but also of profound human cost.
And here you can really see the two sides of that legacy. On one hand, you've got this undeniable economic boom. By 1873, Kimberley was already the second biggest town in South Africa. But that growth was built on the backs of an exploitative migrant labor system. And this is crucial. The systems of control and segregation they created for the mines would later become the actual blueprint for the brutal system of apartheid.
You really can't separate these two stories. They're completely intertwined. The incredible success of the diamond industry and the tragic racial division of South Africa are deeply, intrinsically linked. All that glittering fortune was built on a fractured, unequal foundation right from the very beginning.
And that leaves us with one last lingering question. When you think about the incredible human effort, the vast fortunes that were made, and the deep social wounds that were created, you just have to ask yourself, what is the true price of a diamond?